I was like in space or somewhere, just there's nothing, just me, my aura, and this. I don't even know what it was, and I didn't know what happened. So she kept the blinders on a little bit longer and just asked me a couple questions. Then she, am I okay? Am I feeling okay? And I told her I was fine. And sometimes for you church-going folks that believe the Bible is the answer to everything and prayer is the answer to everything, to a point it is, but you have to be willing to find yourself first and understand yourself first before you go asking God to help you. You got to learn to help yourself.
Hey guys, if it's crazy,
All right, go now.
hit me! Wait.
Get out of there! Oh my God!
Hey guys, welcome to the Family Mess. I'm Noah, and have a nice day.
Good God!
I love the Family Mess. Oh
my God!
Welcome to the Family Mess Podcast. I'm your host, Ian, and I don't have a co-host today, so I'll be doing this alone. The Family Mess, the podcast about life with teens and all things adulting. Let's talk. Hey everybody, it's Ian again, continuing the Soul series that I left off about a month and a half ago. I apologize for taking so long to do these podcasts. Natalie and I are trying to put a studio together, and it's been taking a little bit longer than expected. So I'm doing this from my bedroom closet that has the best acoustics in here. So I wanted to continue my Soul series about my couple days that I went to in Sedona, Arizona, my retreat, my spiritual retreat. And I wanted to talk about, I think it was my second to last day there that I left off, if you listen to my last podcast. So this is going to continue that same day. I think the adventure before, or the meeting before, was with the nature lady. I think that's what it was. But this one is breath work. I was specifically meeting with a lady to discuss breath work. I may put, I don't know yet, I may put the recording out there. It's very personal, and it's very, very, when I listen to it now, I kind of tear up a little bit, but it's very personal. I may put some of my recordings out there just so you guys can also experience what I went through. It's really tough to listen to, but it's part of change. But this session that I attended in the afternoon was the second to last session of the day. It involved breath work. Breath work is using your breathing techniques to get you to an altered state of mind. Now, before entering this, I had no idea what this was. I didn't know if I had to take mushrooms and some type of psychedelic drug, but once the lady sat me down, it was none of that. Everything was breath, how you breathe in and out, how you inhale, how you hold your breath. It was a technique. So the meeting started out and the lady explains to you what you do. You sit down and she explains who invented it, what was the purpose of it, and then what happened to me. So at this point, this is the third or fourth counselor I met in about 2 or 3 days. So I'm a little mentally exhausted, but I decided that this was something that I wanted to experience, and I really wanted to get the full experience with somebody that knew what they were doing. So I don't remember where the counselor was from, but she had an accent. I think it might have been Eastern European, but it may be in the recording. I don't know. But the lady was very calm, and she explained the entire situation and what I would be doing. And so the first step was, I think she had a mat on the floor. So I would have to lay on the mat, take my shoes off, and just relax. And so she has a very soft voice, and she just, she told me she was going to play some music in my ears. I think I'd have headphones on, and that I'd put blinders on my eyes. So the senses, so your ears are going to be listening to music, but your eyes are going to be blacked out. That adds to the effect of the breathing. And the idea behind breath work is that you breathe in, but you don't pause before you breathe out again. And you just breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, and you never pause. You don't pause. And what this does, it kind of messes with the oxygen levels going to your brain. You're still getting oxygen, but it's the amount of oxygen you're getting. There's no pause when you breathe. You just breathe in and out. And the entire time you're breathing in and out, you're getting a little tired because it's not normal to breathe like that. But the counselor also explained that as I'm breathing, if I ever get tired and stop breathing, she'll be there to tell me to keep breathing again. So I was a little nervous when I first did this. I just wasn't sure what to expect. I've never done this before, and it was still weird to me. But like I said, I'll try anything once. It's not going to hurt me, so I'll try it. So as I lay down and she proceeds to turn the music on my ear, the music doesn't even make any sense. It just sounds like a bunch of instruments, and it sounds very chaotic to me. But she tells me to breathe, keep breathing, and before I just remembered, she said she wanted me to do one thing. At any point, if I was struggling and felt like giving up, keep going. And I said, what? What? She goes, yes. There's gonna be a point where you feel like giving up. I'm just gonna ask you just to push through that part. That's gonna be the most important part of all this, is to push through it. And I didn't know what she meant when she told me that, but hopefully when I explain further into this recording that you guys will understand exactly what that meant. So as the session began, the music started playing in my ears, very chaotic music, and my eyes were, the blinders were over my eyes. So as it's playing and the blinders are on, she's telling me to breathe in and out the entire time. Breathe, breathe. Inhale, exhale, breathe, breathe, breathe. And at first I was like, oh, this is stupid. Nothing's going to happen here. But as I kept doing it, I noticed I was getting tired, but she just continued to tell me to breathe. The technique, just use the technique and to breathe. Breathe in, no pause, breathe out. Breathe in, no pause, just continue to do it. And I started getting really tired, but every time I got tired, she said, just keep breathing. So I'd breathe slower, but I would, instead of breathing fast and pause, I'd just breathe a little slower and not pause. That way I wouldn't be rushing as much, because I kind of wanted to rush the experience, but she told me to slow down. So I did. I took my time. And as I continued to breathe, I noticed something very strange started happening. You lose track of time. You have no idea what time it is, because you can't see anything. Your eyes are blinded with the blinders, so you can't see anything. And the chaotic music playing in your ears, you can't hear anything except this music playing. So your senses are playing kind of tricks on you. So as I'm breathing, I notice that I'm just flashes of images are coming in my mind. My eyes are shut, but there's flashes of faces, people walking, just in my mind, just flashes. I don't even know who these people are. They're strangers. I don't know. There's people in my past lives. I have no idea. I've never seen any of these people before. So as I'm breathing, there's one part of the recording. It's funny. It actually sounds like I'm having sex because I'm moaning, but I'm not really moaning. She says to make a noise when I'm breathing out. It helps with being tired, to lessen the effects of being tired, and it reduces the stress. So that's one part of the recording I played. It sounds like I'm having sex for about it sounds like it's like 20 minutes of this that's moaning. It's actually pretty funny. So as I'm moaning and breathing out, the images fade away. They fade away, and it's kind of tough talking about it now, but it's been several months, so you figure I should be able to talk about it. But I haven't talked about this in a long time. I did for the first month and a half after I got back. I told a lot of people, but I haven't told this part of the story since January of this year. So as I am in this place, the images are going away now. There's this light. My eyes are closed, and there's a light that's around me, and I recognize the light. The light's my light. I know my aura, and I see my light, and I feel my light, and I know it's me. This is who I am. But as I look out, there's this other light. I don't know. I can't explain it. There's a light kind of coming towards me, but it didn't seem bad or anything. Just, it was a different light, and it was coming towards me, and I kind of looked back, and I kind of stopped, and I could hear the counselor telling me to keep breathing, because I must have stopped breathing. So I continued to breathe, And as this light force, I don't know what it is, it got closer to me. I realized that the light, it wasn't a dark light. It wasn't even a sad light. It was just this light, just kind of there. But I don't think there's anything there, just this light. And so as I started backing up, the light started coming towards me. Wherever I was at this time, I don't know. I'm still doing the breathing technique. So I don't know if I'm in space. I don't know if I'm in my own mind, but I'm somewhere. But and the chaotic music didn't help the situation. I didn't know what was going on with the music playing. And so I noticed as I back up from this light, it comes closer to me and closer. And I try to go, then all of a sudden the light's around me. Whatever this light was is around my light. And as I try to move further back, the light seems to have a hold of me. I can't explain it. Just I remember I'm lying on my back in this room, and in my mind I'm fighting this thing. I don't know what it was, and I start trying to go back and get away from this thing. I'm kind of having tears right now to talk about it, so it's still emotional for me. I thought it wouldn't be, but it is. And as I'm fighting this thing, I can't get away. I'm going back, and I'm trying to get away, and I'm really struggling with this thing. And the more I struggle, the harder this thing struggles against me. And I said, I don't know what's going on. And I remember I was like, what could be fighting me this much? It's my mind. I don't know what's going on. And I don't know what this thing was that I was fighting so much. And I just wanted to get away and just kind of be alone. But this light just would not leave me alone. I kept fighting and fighting and fighting. And I got to a point where I was tired, but I wasn't tired physically. I wasn't breathing tired, but my mind was tired. At some point I remember I didn't fight anymore. I don't know if I gave up, but I remember the counselor saying, "Hey, if you ever feel like giving up, just keep pushing forward, just keep going and see what happens." So I didn't know what this light was. So I kept trying to move away again, more and more. And the more I moved, I was like, at one point I felt like I was fighting for my spiritual life. I didn't know what this thing was. I started getting scared, but I didn't give up. I'm like, you know what? This thing's not going to beat me. I'm going to listen to this counselor and just keep fighting. And I fought and I fought. And then all of a sudden I stopped. I just stopped moving. I'm like, look, I don't know why I stopped. I just stopped. But then when I stopped, this force that had me also stopped. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And I'm looking around, and this light is around me, and I'm in the light. But every time I moved, they'd try to get me. So I was like, well, I couldn't figure out what was going on. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what to do. I just remember standing there, and the light just kind of stayed around me. It didn't do anything. It didn't feel bad. It didn't feel bad at all. It didn't feel like there was something trying to attack me, but it was just something about this light that was around me, and it just wouldn't leave. And I didn't know what it was. So at some point, the music changed that I was listening to. I vaguely remember the music changed to this very soft, soothing music. And when the music changed, this light seemed to vibrate towards the music, and the light changed. And when I started moving, this thing wasn't moving with me anymore as it used to. It almost became kind of calm. That chaotic music was on. It was calm. And I remember just sitting there, and I looked at this thing, and I didn't know what it was. This whole time I was a little scared. And I remember just being in the moment and not knowing what was going on, because at this time my mind is doing what it's doing. The first 5 minutes I'm seeing faces, and now there's this thing coming towards me. I don't know if it was a soul. I didn't know what it was, but it was definitely a light. So I just start moving around, and the light is with me, but it's not trying to pull me back this time. I just kind of stay there. Then all of a sudden I'm breathing this entire time. I'm having this experience. I'm breathing and I'm breathing. I'm not stopping breathing. At this point, I don't even know what time it is. I'm supposed to be in the session for an hour. So I don't know what time it is, but I'm breathing and I'm experiencing this thing in my mind, whatever it is. And at one point, I think my mind went blank. I couldn't even think. At one point, I wasn't even thinking about anything. I was like in space or somewhere, just there's nothing, just me, my aura, and this, I don't even know what it was. And it got so bad at one point, I felt like my brain was expanding. I can't describe it. My brain just started expanding and it wouldn't stop. And right when it felt like my brain was going to pop, it literally felt like it was just going to pop and explode. The counselor stopped the music that was playing, and it became totally still. And once the music stopped, I was back in the room again. And the counselor said, "I think that's enough." I didn't know what happened. So she kept the blinders on a little bit longer and just asked me a couple questions. Then she, am I okay? Am I feeling okay? And I told her I was fine. And then she took the blinders off, and the counselor was staring at me. She had a slight concerned look on her face, and I remember I could only move my eyes. I didn't feel like moving any body part. I was just mostly my eyes, and I'm looking at her, and I'm observing the room I'm in, and I'm lying on my back, and the place I was just in looks nothing like the room I was in. It was very strange. And she asked me, "Are you okay? What did you see? What happened?" And I was having a hard time explaining it to her, and I told her, I'm like, "I don't know what I saw." I said, "I saw a couple of faces flashing before me, images of people walking. I didn't know who they were, but this is what I saw." She goes, "Okay, what else happened?" And I said, "I kept breathing like you instructed me to." And at this point, when the meeting started, I think it was 3:00. I looked up at the clock. It was already like 4:20. So I'd been breathing. It must have been breathing easily over an hour. This is what I found out later on. And most patients, she said, barely make it past 20 minutes. So whatever was happening to me was something that she said she hasn't seen in a very long time. So I told her, I said, I don't really know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what happened. At one point, I told her I saw a light. I didn't know what it was. It wasn't mine. And it came towards me, and I tried to get away from it, but I couldn't get away. I just kept on fighting it. And it just got closer to me. And at one point it was around me, and I was trying to run away from it and get away from it. And I just couldn't get away. And just kind of stopped fighting. And when the music changed, it kind of went away, but it was there. I didn't know what it was. And the lady's like, "Oh, interesting." And I believe, I can't remember 100% what she said, but she pretty much her words were, "It looks like you found something when you were wherever you went." And I said, "I don't know what I found. I don't think it was bad, but I was really fighting. I didn't want to give up, like you said." And she goes, "Good. What happened when you fought?" And I said, "Well, I tried to get away from whatever this was, and it was just, at one point I was straining very hard to get away, and it was just right there on me." And when the music changed, it changed a little bit, kind of backed off a little bit, but I didn't feel scared anymore. But And then when I felt like my head was about to explode is when you turned off the music and I'm here talking to you now. And she said, so I can't remember exactly what she said, but a long story short, she suggested that I may have found myself. I said, what? And she's like, yeah, some people have experiences, but some people find things, and, some people are sad, but you may have found something yourself. And after talking to her, it makes sense. So the thing I was fighting wasn't a thing. It was me. It sounds crazy I'm saying this, but I think we're all born with an identity that's given to us. And I think I've told you guys some of this. And because we're given these identities, we don't, in religions, and I've told you guys this before, we don't necessarily know who we are. We know who we identify the world as the world. So we have a name. So the name that we are is not who we are on the inside. We're special design beings, and that's not who we are. So we're given names to identify who we are, but that's not who we are. So the thing I found in my mind was me. I was searching for something I was fighting myself. It's so funny I'm saying this. The person I was fighting was me. And the harder I fought myself, the more I wouldn't let myself go. And it was only when I kind of just stood back a little bit and just stood there is when myself was calm also. And I've been fighting myself my whole life. And I never knew that until I had that meeting. I don't know if it was an epiphany. I've been fighting myself my whole life. I've always been hard on myself, very critical of who I was, never thinking I was a very good person as far as a husband to Natalie, a good dad to the kids. And it's just gotten worse as I've gotten older. And the anger was really a serious issue for me because I'm not an angry person, but I was becoming an angry person. And a lot of home stuff from being in the house with my dad and mom divorcing. And I didn't realize when you're young, you take all that in. And if you don't get help, it has to go somewhere. So the thing I found was myself. I've been searching for myself my entire life of who I was. And I've been running from myself my entire life, not knowing that I was running from the truth. The truth is me. I'm running from myself. That was very difficult to explain and accept because I cried. I don't know why I cried, but it was very emotional for me because I'd never felt anything like that before in my life. I don't know if it's spiritual awakening or I was becoming into something else, but it was the realization that I don't have to run for myself anymore. I found who I was looking for my entire life. And I knew from when I was a little boy that I was meant to do great things, and the situation I was in, I was meant to do more. I could feel it. I just couldn't explain it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to go to. I didn't know anything. If you guys are listening to this recording, this is not edited. It's just me trying to tell my story. And for anybody who is looking to find what it is they're looking for, you're never going to find it here. What I mean to say is you're not going to find it by staying where you're currently at in your situation. You have to seek out help. And sometimes for you church-going folks that believe the Bible is the answer to everything and prayer is the answer to everything, to a point it is, but you have to be willing to find yourself first and understand yourself first before you go asking God to help you. You got to learn to help yourself and to love yourself. And I've been saying that the whole time. It's only when you can love yourself and accept yourself for who you really are is when change can begin. And that day I found out who I was, what I liked, what I didn't like. I knew who I was. I've known who I was deep down for an extremely long time, since I was a little boy. And the adult I am now is not the person that I even want to be. And I think a lot of us are husbands, wives, or whatever, and we're in relationships and we know we're not supposed to be there because we know that's not us. Deep down, that's not what we want. And we're just there. Maybe we don't want to hurt our spouse, our kids, but I'm telling you, at some point in your life, you have to find yourself, find out who you are. Find the person that God created. That's the person you are. The person you are is not your name. It sounds weird I'm saying that, but yes, my name's Ian, but I'm somebody much more special. We're all somebody more special than we were given identities to be. So the breath work session ended up lasting, I think, almost the entire session. The breathing part was about an hour and 20 minutes. I was breathing, and the rest of the time I was talking. I didn't get out of there till 5:30, something like that. I was there for a while. I had to actually just get up and leave because the last session of the day was a massage. I ended up getting a massage for like an hour from she was a counselor lady, but also a masseuse. But the breath work took longer than expected, but anybody who's looking to change their lives, I would recommend some type of breath work with, it doesn't have to be the lady I took, but with any person that can do it and put you through that, I think will help. But the whole idea of this recording was just to give you guys my experience. And if you guys want to talk to me, you already got my number. You can email me, of course. Some of you guys know my email directly. You can text me and ask me anything you want. Messenger me, it doesn't matter. But I just wanted to record to let everybody know what I went through. And I'm still going through this change right now. I'm still doing things in my life. I'm incorporating things. I still go to church, but it affects me a little different now. So I go to church. I love church, but I'm a special person now. So I talk to God every night directly, and I love him directly. And it makes me feel good that he loves me. So that's all I care about now. So the future holds for me, I don't know. I'm still going towards my chaplaincy and getting ordinated because I still love those things. I still love the church. Just because I've had this experience doesn't change who I am, and I still think I have a lot to do, and I can help a lot of people. But anyone who's looking to change their lives, you got to take the first step. You don't have to do what I did and fly all the way to Sedona to get it. I did it because a friend recommended it, and I did it because it worked. I think it changed my entire life. My entire spiritual being has been awoken to who I am. And if anybody wants to talk to me directly, just call me and talk to me, and I'll tell you the entire experience. Even the other counseling sessions I went to, I recorded most of them. I may put it up on a podcast. I don't know. Now that I listen to it, it's very personal, but I might put it up. I don't know. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. If you see me, you talk to me, and you want to talk more about it, just reach out. I'm here for you. I'm still Ian, but I'm Ian different. I think different. I believe different. I am different. I don't know if you'll notice it, but I feel very different, and I love you all. So I think that's all I have for recording today. If you guys want to reach out, you can Instagram the Family Mess Podcast. I think what are the other? You can listen on all the streaming platforms: iHeartRadio, Google Podcast. I think Apple, all the streaming platform, the Family Mess Podcast. So if you guys have anything, just reach out to me. If not, I'll talk to you guys later, and God bless you all. Take care.
Hey guys, welcome to the Family Mess. I'm Noah, and have a nice day.
Good God.
I love the family mess.
Oh